Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakaman Sri Guru Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sakaradatam Sahagana Raghunatha Hitam Kamsadevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Dalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Mostute Taptakanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanyeshwari Vrishabhanasute Devi Pramami Haripri Vancha Kalpatarpesya Kripachandurbe Vachinapatitam Bhavayabhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swamine Namah Namacharya Padaya Taka Papadaya Gaurakatha Padaya Nagarakavataraya Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamine Namah Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Devi Shishishunyavari Pashyata Deshatarani Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devi Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Rudreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavattuttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhakti Naishtiti Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 1, verse number 9. Priyavratottana putra mahojasau tatputra pautar natrinam anuvrittam tadantaram priyavratottanapado manuputro mahojasau tatputra pautar natrinam anuvrittam tadantaram. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Swayambhu Manu's two sons, Priyavrata and Uttamapala, became very powerful kings, and their sons and grandsons spread all over the three worlds during that period. Text 10. Devahuti Madhattata Kardamayatmajam Manubu Tat Sambandhe Shruta Prayam Bhavata Kadato Mama Devahuti Madhattata Kardamayatmajam Manubu Tat Sambandhe Shrutapayam Bhavata Kadato Maya. My dear son, Swayambhu Manu handed over his very dear daughter Devahuti to Kardama Muni. I have already spoken to you about them, and you have heard about them almost in full. Text 11. Dakshaya Brahmaputraya Prasutim Bhagavan Manu Praya Chadyakrita Sarga Trilokyam Vidato Mahan. Dakshaya Brahmaputraya Prasutim Bhagavan Manu Praya Chadyakrita Sarga Trilokyam Vidato Mahan. Swayambhu Manu handed over his daughter Prasuti to the son of Brahma named Daksha, who was also one of the progenitors of the living entities. The descendants of Daksha are spread throughout the three worlds. Text 12. Ya Kardama Sutta Prokta Nava Brahma Shaya Patnaya Brahmarshi Patnaya Tasam Prasuti Pratavam Rochyamanam Nibodame. Ya Kardama Sutta Prokta Nava Brahmarshi Patnaya Tasam Prasuti Pratavam Rochyamanam Nibodame. You have already been informed about the 9 daughters of Kardama Muni who were handed over to 9 different sages. I shall now describe the descendants of those 9 daughters. Please hear from me. The third canto has already described how Kardama Muni begot 9 daughters in Devahuti, and how all the daughters were later handed over to great sages like Marichi, Aarthi and Vasishta. Text 13. Patni Mariche Stukala Sushuve Kardamatmaja Kashyapam Purnimanancha Yayora Puritam Jagat. Kardama Muni's daughter Kala, who was married to Marichi, gave birth to 2 children whose names were Kashyapa and Purnima. Their descendants are spread all over the world. So, I am grateful to all the Vaishnavas and seek their blessings so that I can do some useful service to their worships, Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra. Please pardon me if there are any shortcomings. So these verses what we have read doesn't have much contents to discuss. Anyway, we'll just touch on the background of these verses. As we have already read earlier, Swayambhu, who was the first origin for all creations of human beings. So that's why he's called Manu, who is the origin, first person from whom all the human beings were created. And he had had 2 sons and 3 daughters. The sons were Priyavrata, Uttanapada, and 3 daughters, Devahuti, Prasuti, and Aarthi. Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subramanya Ki Jai. So in this portion, Sukadeva Maitreya Muni is talking about the appearance of Yajna and Dakshina. These were 2 son and daughter born to Akuti through Ruchi. And before handing over Akuti to Ruchi, Swayambhu put a condition that any son born of you should be handed over back to me. This he did although he had 2 sons, Uttanapada and Priyavrata. He already had 2 sons. It is not that he was Putrahin. But still he made this request because he knew that the Supreme Lord himself is going to appear as a son of Akuti and Ruchi. So that way, Yajna became the son of Swayambhu Manu, and Dakshina was the daughter of Akuti. Yajna was none other than the Supreme Lord. He came as an Avesh avatar. Similarly, Dakshin also was an incarnation of Lakshmi Devi herself. So it so happened that Yajna married Dakshina and they became Pati and Patni. So from the normal point of view, it is little inappropriate that a brother and sister they get married. But we cannot understand the events of the Leelas of the Lord from our material platform. They were eternally Pati Patnis, they were consorts. So there is absolutely no incoherency in their becoming husband and wife. And another thing is Yajna later assumed the post of Indra. So Indra, as you know, is a post where different people can occupy at different times, sometimes living entities. And in this case, Yajna himself took the post of Indra. So we should not get confused that Indra is the one who ran after his guru's wife and he did all kinds of things to disrupt devotees progressing. But this here, the Indra's post was occupied by Yajna himself. So between Yajna and Dakshina, they gave birth to what is called Tushitas. I don't know how many of them. So they gave birth to sons who were known as Tushitas. The word Tushita means happy, contented and happy. The Prabhupada here explains that in a grihastha life, when the husband and wife are peaceful and happy, that's a nice place to reside, and people born of them will be of very good progenies. Not only that, when there is no quarrel and when there is peace prevailing in the house between husband and wife, goddess of fortune herself comes and resides in their house. So that way, Yajna and Dakshina, they set a very good beginning for the further propagation of progenies. So it is said here that the rishis, Sapta rishis, they were also very austere and good uh, candidates for progenation, and they were headed by Marichi. So all these three, that is Indra, Tushitas, and uh, rishis, all of them together they gave rise to, they increased the population of the world in terms of six categories of people. One of them is Manus, the other one is Devas, then Manuputras, then Amsavataras, then Sureshwaras, and Rishis. This way, they populated the world. Most of them were Prajapatis, anyone from whose line the human population is created and spread throughout the world. They are called Prajapatis. So there are many Prajapatis, and the Manus were the primary ones through whom Brahma started the process of secondary creation. And there were many Devas whose role were to govern the affairs of the universe. And Manu Putras, they were the immediate progenies and children of Manu. Then there were Amsavatars, some of them were incarnations of the Lord. And Sureshwaras. Sureshwaras means those who are in charge of the demigods, in charge of the devas, like Shiva, Brahma, and all that, Rudras. Then there were rishis. So this way, different categories of people were created from whom the population began. So before the starting of the process of progenation, it was necessary to ensure that the couple, all these couples who created the population, they were situated in Sattva-guna. Because in the beginning, everything was very nice in the beginning. And degradation started only at a later period. So initially all were very, very pious and God-centric. They were all in Sattva-guna. They were all happy. Everyone was tushtas. So the ideal relationship between husband and wife should be similar to the relationship between Isha and Jiva. There is no conflict of interest between Isha and the Jivas, because all the Jivas were to fulfill the desires of the Isha. That is the relationship between Jiva and Ishas. Similarly, the husband and wife, they have to live in such a way that the wife serves the husband and fulfills all his desires. This way, everything will be in harmony and peace. So, Yajna and Dakshina, they were ideal Pati Patnis. So there is one question, I don't know the answer myself. We know that Swayambhuva Manu was created by Brahma along with Satarupa. But the subsequent Manus, I don't know, I have no idea how they are created. Any idea, Prabhu? Chakshusha Manu, Sarojisha Manu, all those Manus, how they came into being. Something to be pondered over. Okay, so Sukadeva Goswami, he starts giving the genealogical table. of Vamsavali of all the children of Swayambhuva Manu. Yes, everything starts from Swayambhuva Manu. And one often wonders, why should we read all these Vamsavalis? There are thousands and thousands of names, who was born to whom, from whom, who were again, who married whom. All these pages and pages of Vamsavalis, why should we read? This question many times comes. And people even skip through and then go to the next interesting content of Bhagavatam. So it is said that these have a significance because if we read all the names of the kings and the various personalities in the Vamsavali, it is all purifying. Even by just reciting their names, it purifies our anarthas, purifies our sins. So it is for our own purification that these descriptions are given by Sukadeva Goswami. So the main content of Bhagavatam is from the descendants of Uttanapada and Priyavrata. But before going to them, Maitreya Rishi first talks about the daughters of Manu, and after completing that part, then he comes to the main content of the descendants of Uttanapada and Priyavrata and their pastimes. So about Devahuti already we have read a lot in the third canto, and similarly Prasuti is going to come next about how her daughter was married to Shiva. Prasuti married herself Daksha, and through them the pastimes of Daksha Yajna, Shiva offending Daksha, and those pastimes are going to come further. So right now the focus is on Akuti. So the description of how Akuti's son and daughter, Yajna and Dakshina, how they got married and the population started spreading through them. Now, talking about Priyavrata and Uttanapada, Priyavrata was the elder son, Uttanapada was the younger brother of Priyavrata. Even though it is so, Maitreya first starts describing the descendants of Uttanapada, starting from Dhruva Maharaj, and only later on he talks about Priyavrata. Why this is so is because of one reason, that Priyavrata was very renounced right from the beginning. In fact, the name Priya and Vrata, Priya plus Vrata is Priyavrata. Vrata is austerities and tapasya and pleasing the Lord, and she was very fond of that. So he was called Priyavrata. And he was a very dear disciple of Narad Muni. So it was very, after many years only then he got married. So that is why the description of Priyavrata comes later, even though he is an elder son. And Uttanapada, he was a king, and he had a very exalted son by name Dhruva. So another reason was Sukadeva was very eager to talk about Dhruva Maharaj. So that is another reason why he first talks about Uttanapada's descendants. It is mentioned in the 9th verse that both these brothers, Uttanapada as well as Priyavrata, they were Mahaujasav. Priyavratottanapada Manuputrao Mahaujasav. Mahaujasav means very powerful personalities. So it is said that Priyavrata, you all know, he was very famous for chasing the sun in sun's orbit. It seems the sun was traveling in an orbit in his ratha, and Priyavrata had his own rath, and he was following, going behind the sun. So whenever sun made an orbit, Priyavrata used to follow him. So this way for 7 days and 7 nights, he chased Surya, and as a result of his traveling throughout the globe, throughout the universe, along with the sun, in the process he created 7 oceans during those 7 days and nights. And it is said that whenever the sun sets, Priyavrata will rise. So there is no question of darkness. Always there will be light, either through sun or through Priyavrata because of his austerities. So he performed many yajnas during his reign. So this way he was a Mahojasa. Similarly, Uttanapada also was a Mahojasa, and his name Uttanpad. Uttan means supreme Lord spread over everywhere, and Pada means lotus feet. So he was able to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord all the time. And it is said that when Uttanapada, his feet used to touch the Swargaloka. He was such an exalted personality. So both of them are described as Mahajasa. So I think we will stop here with this particular portion and generally discuss a few things, whatever little I know. There are a few things which I am very fond of talking all the time. So I'll touch upon a few of them. You all know that Rupa Goswami, in 64 limbs of devotion service, he has given 5 most important, potent limbs. One of them, if somebody is practicing very sincerely, he will attain perfection. One is Nama Japa, then Vaishnava Sangha, then Bhagavata Patanam, then Dham Vasa. What is the 5th one? Deity worship. So there is a description about this to some extent in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Madhya Leela, chapter number 22. There, about Bhagavatam, what is meant by this Bhagavatam? We all know that there are 5 important limbs, but we don't have a very deep understanding, most of us, at least myself, I didn't have much idea what these limbs actually is. So about Bhagavatam, I was thinking that, okay, I'm reading Bhagavatam, so I'm following one of the limbs. So it is not as simple as that. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj says, Srimad Bhagavatartanam Ashwado Rasikai Saha Sajati Yashiye Snigde Sadhav Sangha Swatovare. Srimad Bhagavatartanam Ashwado Rasikai Saha Sajati Yasaye Snigde Sadhav Sangha Swatovare. This means that it is just not reading Bhagavatam, it is relishing Bhagavatam. Ashwada, the swad means taste. We must get the extract and the juice and dwell and you get immersed in the rasa of Bhagavatam. And how does that happen? Rasika is saha. Rasika means, in the third verse, the word Rasika comes. So Rasika is one who is able to completely get immersed in the pastimes of the Lord, various leelas, and totally get immersed and experience the rasa. That's why it's called Rasika. A Rasika is one who is able to experience the rasa. So such devotees one must seek and relish Bhagavatam along with them. That is Bhagavata Artha. Bhagavata Artha, we must be able to relish, because many times the superficial contents may be one thing, but the real meanings which are hidden, that is only realized with mature devotion. As one progresses in devotion, one can see more things from what appears to be superficially some facts. So, this what kind of rasikas? you say rasika is saha, but who are those rasikas? So, we know that we have to read Bhagavatam in the association of devotees. But what is that association? So, that is explained in the next line. Sajati Ashiye. Sajati Ashiye means those who have similar taste, similar ruchi, similar inclinations. They are able to blend very well, and the association becomes very tasty. One can enjoy that association. And snigde means affectionate. Affectionate here means not the physical affection what we know of in the material world, but real affection to take each other to the lotus feet of the Lord. The real affection is that how we are wishing that somehow this person should reach the lotus feet of the Lord, and pray and work for that, help him out. That is snigde. Then sadhu sangha. Sadhu sangha means there should be pure devotees. And swatovare. Swatovare means it should be mutually beneficial. In an association between A and B, both A should get benefited from B and B should get benefited from A's association. Should be mutually nourishing. This nourishment is very, very important in devotional life. Otherwise, it will be very dry and void. So this nourishment, even in the beginning of Gita, Arjuna was having Hriday Daurbalyam. And what is the Hriday Daurbalyam? All the anarthas that we have, they are all originating from Hriday Daurbalyam. Hriday Daurbalyam means the heart has no place for Krishna. It has no softness. They become hard. So this is Daurbalyam. So how this can be rectified is by proper nourishment. The heart becomes weak because it is malnourished. There is no nourishment to the heart. And how does that nourishment take place? Nourishment comes only from pure devotees. Only they can give nourishment to the heart. And that is what is described in the Nectar of Instruction, verse number 4. Dadati pratigrinati guhyamakyati prachati punkte bodhete seva shadvidam priti lakshana. So the purpose of these 6 exchanges mentioned in this verse is to acquire priti, Vaishnava priti. And this Vaishnava priti is a very great tonic in devotional life. So if we have to be nourished, we need the Vaishnava association. So that is what is stressed by Rupa Goswami when he says in one of the 5 lives, relishing Bhagavatam. And there is another interesting verse connected to the same subject from Bhagavatam, Canto 11, chapter 3. I'll just read it out. It says, Parasparanu Kathanam. This is spoken by Krishna to Uddhava. Parasparanu Kathanam Pavan Bhagavat Yashaha Mito Ratir Mita Tushti Nivrittir Mita Atmanam. So Parasparanu Kathanam means discussing Krishna's pastimes and Krishna's glories and discussing devotees, Krishna Katha among devotees. So this is Pavanam Bhagavat Yasha. Pavanam means it is purifying. By reading the discussing Krishna Katha amongst devotees, we get so purified. Bhagavat Yashaha means glories of the Lord. So what should be discussed? We should discuss the glories of the Lord amongst devotees. And what does it do? Mito Rati. Rati means attraction. Similar to Bhava is Rati. Bhava is another word for Bhava is Rati. So in Bhava state, one gets so much attracted to the Lord. So that kind of an attraction develops by discussing the glories of the Lord amongst devotees. And second thing is Mita Tushti. So one gets completely satisfied. So devotees never feel wanting or never feel bored or distressed or slackened. They always feel that it is so nice to discuss Krishna Katha and they are fully satisfied. And Nivrittir Mita Atmana. Atmana refers to soul. So Mita Atmana means mutually the soul. Nivritti, it gets released from the material miseries. So Anartha Nivritti you can say. So this way the association of devotees is very, very important whenever we want to relish Bhagavatam. This is what Rupa Goswami is implying when he says Bhagavata Katha Shravana. Then another one or two things which I thought may be of interest to all the practicing devotees in order to keep up the enthusiasm, because many times devotees feel a little dejected and well, I'm doing so much, I don't know where I'm going, Krishna only knows. So that kind of lack of confidence and dejection sometimes sets in. Many times I've seen, even I have experienced many times like that. So the basic thing is we all feel that Prabhu, I am not doing any, I don't know, Rupa Goswami talks about Anya Abhidashta Shunyam Jnana Karma Jnana Vartam and all that. I don't know when, how many janmas it is going to take, when I am going to reach that stage. I am so fallen, I am doing something in the name of devotion service. So chanting, I'm having association, I'm doing all that. But there is no confidence and there is no clarity where we stand. It is like, suppose you have to travel from here to Vijayawada by car. There is no direction in the road. There is no milestones. There are no cities. So you don't know where you reached. You are traveling and traveling and traveling. without any assessment of where you stand, how long it's going to take. So, like that, in the devotional life also, we many times feel where we are now, we don't know. So this kind of a, uncertainty it sets in, and a lot of uh, slackness comes out of that. So every practicing devotee should understand that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given a wonderful, he has written a wonderful book called Madhurya Kadambini. Every devotee should read that, because that throws lot of light on the path of devotional service. What are the stages? What obstacles do you meet? What are the symptoms? Where you stand? All this is given. And to add to that, as a pinnacle, Raghunath Das Goswami has given Manasiksha, which is a step further it goes. While Madhurya Kadambini, it discusses the obstacles and various stages in which the devotee moves in the devotional career. Manasiksha gives solutions for each one of those obstacles. How do you overcome that? Very nice analysis. So these two important books, every practicing devotee should read so that they know what they are doing. We are doing devotional service, but we don't know what we are doing and where we stand. So these two are very useful guiding lights, and it gives us a confidence. Yes, you are here now. Go ahead. So this kind of a Jai Sri Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai Ki Jai. So this confidence is very much required. Utsaha, Dhairya, Nishaya. So that comes from proper study of Shastras. So many times people, when they feel, Prabhu, I don't know when I'm going to reach pure devotional service. Rupa Goswami talks about all those things. We don't know when we get a feeling like that. Why? Why do we feel like that? That's because the definition of pure devotional service we should understand first. When he talks about Shuddha Bhakti, what is Shuddha Bhakti? Shuddha Bhakti means the prayojan should be very clear and clean, without contamination. Because there are many paths and many prayojanas. Each one is right in his own way. There is no one right way. Because there are varieties of human beings and varieties of stages in which they are. So everybody cannot fit into one formula. So there are demigod worshippers, there are what is that Panchayata Puja people perform, there are meditators, there are jnanis, there are people aspiring for Swarga, all kinds of different paths are there. Each path has a goal. So they are clear, we should be clear that if somebody is going in one path towards one goal, he is right. So why somebody chooses one goal and one path, that depends on the faith. So there are different faiths, different goals and different paths. So there can be multiple faiths, multiple prayojans and multiple abhideya. So this is the mesh in which we get confused. Why we are not clear that we are practicing pure devotion service? It's because we don't know where our abhilash, where our abhilash is. When he says anya abhilasha, that means we should have complete faith that this is the only prayojan for me. In Chaitanya Manjusha, it is very nicely explained. Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanaya Staddhava Vrindavanam
रम्या काचिद उपासना व्रजवधु वर्गेण वा कल्पिता श्रीमद् भागवतम पुराणममलं प्रेम पुमर्तो महान श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभोर मतमिदे तत्रादरान परः. Very, very clear. If we understand this particular sloka, then there can be no doubts in our minds about what we should achieve, what is our goal. That we should be very clear. Most of us, we are not very clear about that. That is why we get a doubt whether we are following pure devotion service. So, pure devotion service means Aradhyo Bhagavan. There are many worshippers, many things being worshipped. But who is the most worshipable object? Bhagavan. No one else. So demigods are all ruled out. Aradhyo Bhagavan. And who is that Bhagavan? Vrajesha Tanaya. Vrajesha is Nanda Maharaj. He is the proprietor of Nandagam. So Vrajesha Tanaya. Tanaya means son of Nanda. Nanda Upupa. Nanda Putra. So that Krishna who is in Vrindavan. Krishna again manifests his potencies in different forms. If you want to experience Krishna in his full potency, 64 qualities in full, that you can experience only in Vraja Krishna, not in Dwaraka, not in Mathura, not anywhere else. So he says very clearly that Vrajesha Tanaya, worshipping Krishna in Vraja. That should be the goal. And how the worship should be done? Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanaya Taddama Vrindavan. Not only Krishna, even Vrindavan, the land of Vrindavan is worshipable. So this should be the mood and aim. Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu Vargena Va Kalpita. So how the Lord should be worshipped? We can't worship in any way we think. We should worship Him in the mood, in the path shown by gopis. The gopis of Vrindavan. How they are worshipping? Ananya Bhakti or Kevala Bhakti. They don't care for anything else. Their only ambition is to somehow please Krishna. All the time, they have no other consideration in life. So this is the mood in which Vrajesha Tanaya should be worshipped. And Srimad Bhagavatam confirms this. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Puranam Amalam Prema Pumarto Mahan Prema Pumarto Bhavan. That means this is the highest goal that declares, Bhagavatam declares very clear. So the Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, they are all nothing when compared to this Panchama Purushartha of Krishna Prema. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matamide. This is the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this should be the goal. This should be the Abhilash. So that is about Abhilash. Then not only this much is sufficient. If you have a very clear idea of what the goal is, that alone is not sufficient. We should also know what is the Abhideya for attaining that. The only Abhideya is Navada Bhakti shown by the Goswamis. We should not indulge in anything else. We don't care about any other process. What we normally do is we get confused. We go here and there, hither and thither, do this, that, so many things. So we should be very, very clear that this is my only goal and this is the only path I am going to follow. If these two, and similarly, we should have not only this, we should have complete faith in the parampara, in the sampradaya, and the books written by the sampradaya acharyas. We should not read too many things that will spoil our faith. There are so many books. Shrotavyadini Rajendra, Nrinam Santi Sahasrasaha, Apashyatam Atmatattva, Griheshu Grihavedina. So many people, they stack books in the house, volumes and volumes and volumes everywhere around books. They will be surrounded, and who is a voracious reader? Voracious reader of rubbish. It doesn't help. As far as we are concerned, we should be very clear. Even Shastras, we should not read all Shastras. There are Dharma Shastra, there are Jnana Shastra, there are Bhakti Shastra, Yoga Shastras. We should only accept Bhakti Shastras. Why do we conduct Bhakti Shastri program? Because the focus should be on Bhakti Shastra. We should not read Upanishads, we should not read Brahma Sutra, we should not read so many Puranas. So many things are there. All are Shastras. Shastras nana Prabhu padikren. No. We are diffusing our focus. So our focus and energy should be fully spent towards achieving our goal. So if all these conditions are satisfied, number one, Abhilash, number two, Abhideya, number three, faith in the Parampara and Guru Acharyas, number four, faith in the Bhakti Shastras. If all these are satisfied, then that person is supposed to have pure faith, Shuddha Shraddha. If anywhere if there is a leakage, then it is a contaminated faith. So, pure faith and contaminated faith. We should be very clear. Whether we are able to achieve, whether we are able to follow all the things is a different matter. We should not bring that in the picture and confuse ourselves, because many times we think, Prabhu, I am not able to follow all these things. I am not able to get up at 4 o'clock. I am not able to do Mangalarti regularly. I am not able to do this. I am not able to do that. I have so many anarthas. I have so many desires. I have hatredness, kama, krodha, lobha. All those things are there. That is to be kept aside. We are only talking about faith. Faith should be pure, because that is the ground. Krishna only sees the faith. He doesn't look at your externalities, what you are doing, how many rounds you are chanting, what time you are getting up. These are all externalities. What Krishna is interested is how deep is your faith, how pure is your faith. So if somebody has a pure faith, even though he may have tons and tons of anarthas, he may not be able to follow many things. Doesn't matter. He comes under the shelter of Krishna. The moment such a person comes under the shelter of Krishna, all his sins are washed off. When Krishna says, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayasham, he doesn't give a free ticket to everybody. He doesn't wash off everybody's sins just like that. The condition, caveat is that you should have pure faith. If you fully have faith in the way we have discussed, then Krishna will protect you. And all the karmas are, he is no more subjected to karma. There is no karmic reaction. Even though he may have so many faults, karmic reaction has got nothing to do with your faults. Even though you may be faulty, even though you may have shortcomings, you may have so many drawbacks, anarthas, there is no karmic reaction for you if you are having this pure faith. Pure abhilasha, pure abhideya, pure faith. And where we stand today, it may be far below our expectation. One day we may rise up. That will be taken care of by Krishna. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma sashvatan chanti nigarchati. So this is a very important thing everyone should understand, so that they get a confidence. Because many devotees I know, they are doing devotion service, but they are very much diffident about their own situation. They are not sure. Krishna is after all merciful. There is nobody more who can be more merciful than Krishna. And Mahaprabhu is still more merciful. So whoever is having belief in Krishna and Mahaprabhu, there is no question of his fall down. There is no question of his going down. It's only a question of time. Tattena kampan susamekshamano kunjana evatmakatam vipakam Radvagvaparbir Viradan Namaste Jivetayo Mukti Padesa Dayaba. So you have to be patient. We should not immediately judge, oh Prabhu, I have not made any progress. No. It may look like that. Krishna takes care of his devotees personally. Kaunteya Patijanehi Name Bhakta Pranashyati. What does it mean? Devotees are so dear to Krishna. His devotees. He cannot give up. He cannot be without devotees. He is hankering for devotees association. Just like devotees hanker for Krishna's association. So he is so merciful. When so much mercy is available, why should we feel diffident? Why should we feel there is no hope? So there is hope for everybody in Krishna's kingdom. Because after all, the material world, Krishna did not create to put everybody in suffering and enjoy. He doesn't get any enjoyment out of that. He is Akhila Rasamrita Murti. His enjoyment comes out of relationship. Enjoyment lies only in relationship. So Krishna gets enjoyment only through relationship. And so also the jivas, they also get enjoyment only through happiness, only through relationship. So Krishna will never neglect any jiva. There is so much of positivity. We keep aside all those things and only see the negativity. So this is a very important thing everyone should understand so that they can be very confident, because confidence is required in devotion service. Utsaha, Dhairya, Nishaya. Should we stop here? Okay. So any points anybody would like to discuss, Prabhu? Would like to hear a few things. Depending on? Exclusively depending on the mercy of the Supreme. Yeah. That is the Lakshana of Saranagi. Yeah. So just adding to this faith. Correct. We don't realize how much mercy is available to us. That is an unfortunate thing. We are sitting on gold mine and still begging for 10 rupees from somebody without knowing that we already have tons and tons of gold. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarpyasya kripa sindhu bhevacha Patitanam bhavanir